Welcome to Toffee TV. It is back. It is time for the match preview. Everton versus Wolves. Boxing Day, Goodison Park. Premier League football returns after quite a shambolic break. Nobody needed it. Nobody wanted it. What was the point? You know.
It's tremendous, to be honest.
It's the greatest time of my life.
Tremendous.
What a time to be alive.
It's refreshed us.
Yeah.
Refreshed Everton. Played 3 Premier League opponents in the last week and drew 1 and won 1. So it's refreshed us. We are ready, and we won the
Super Sydney Cup.
Sydney Cup as
Super
well.
Sydney
So
Cup.
we're
Good
ready.
times.
We're
Like
ready.
4 games since the
Bournemouth game.
and we're undefeated.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
So you
And
can't
actually
argue.
have scored goals.
You can't argue with that.
Actually, we've scored goals. So, this is just a really difficult one to predict, isn't it? It's like the first day of the season again.
Yeah.
Obviously, coming off the back of 2 very disappointing defeats at Bournemouth, and obviously, we needed that break. And it'll be hard to know. Again, I say it's good that we're at home. It's good that we're playing, I suppose, an opponent that is below us in the league. Although they have had a competitive game. They played in the League Cup this week with a victory, a 2-0 victory. But it's just gonna be a strange one, isn't it? Coming back, trying to get back up to the pace of the Premier League, but obviously for both teams.
Yeah, it will be difficult and different than what I think it'll be different than the start of the season, because I think the players' general fitness will still, they'll have maintained a decent level of fitness, I think, and obviously Everton have played 4 games in the break. I'm sure Wolves have played a couple of games as well and did have that competitive game the other night in the Carabao Cup. So I think the teams will be ready for it. It's just going to be difficult because certainly Wolves have had a change of manager since the break. Julen Lopetegui, we decided on, didn't we? That's what the pronunciation. He's coming.
I'm not sure if it's Lopetegui, but
That's what it says.
I'm not sure about
That's
that.
what it's.
Okay.
That's what it says.
Okay.
Someone will tell me it's different. Fine. I just said that's what's happened. Spanish manager has come in.
Yeah.
And has had obviously a few weeks to work with what he wants on his ideas and that. But Wolves are poor at scoring goals like Everton. So that's really where their issues are. They've won 2 games all season, the bottom of the league. And, for Everton, a home game against a team that's bottom of the league, whether we're in good form, bad form, and different form, you can't ask for really more than that. Your own crowd, the opportunity to get 3 massive points, which it will be. Albeit we know that they carry a threat, and with people, Raul Jimenez got a goal the other night, and we know that he can be a handful on his day, and they still have people like Adama Traore who are really quick linked, obviously, with Everton throughout the summer transfer window. So they do carry a threat, but I think from an Everton perspective, it's got to be looked at as a great opportunity.
Yeah, and that listen, we know we're going to be without Conor Cody, obviously, because he's his parent club, and for everyone else, Onana, Garner, Pickford, they'll be back. There'll be no issues there. Dominic Calvert-Lewin, it does seem as touch and go. I can't imagine he'll be back for the game. I can't really imagine he'll be back to the Brighton game, to be honest.
But there'll be no, if he doesn't make the bench against Wolves, which he may well do, there'll be no, for me, there's no point even involving him at City. I'd just leave him for Brighton, because with all the will in the world, City is going to be about trying to keep them out. There's no point throwing your centre forward in, where if he's not 100% ready to go. I'd keep him out until, but if he doesn't make the Wolves game, then yeah, like you say, leave him until Brighton.
But this, not only has it been a break, it has been an opportunity, hasn't it, for Frank Lampard to step away and have a real good look at what's been going on, with his coaches, what we need to work on, what's worked, what hasn't worked. Whether that's a change of system or just a little tinkering with what we're doing. I'd like to see us go put a bit more faith in Onana and put him in the 6 and say you're going to sit in there, and then let Garner do the pressing a little bit more like we saw against Crystal Palace, allowing Alex Iwobi then to play as the number 8 stroke number 10. I know it's difficult because obviously Mopar's not a natural goal scorer, and we'll always try and come deep and you haven't got the height then with Dominic Calvert-Lewin, but we've got Nathan Patterson back fit. Obviously took part in Sydney's, took part in the games as well recently, no issues there, so he'll be really refreshed, and hopefully we see a team that's got a little bit more about it, and maybe the pennies drop for some people. Anthony Gordon, we're told is very close to signing a new contract. Hopefully the pennies drop for him. I hope he's been watching the World Cup thinking, oh, that's something I would love to have been involved in. And maybe if I'd shown the talent that other people believe I've got, then I could have been on the edges or a little bit closer. And I just think too many players were going through the motions, or too many players, I think, before the break thought they were doing well and they weren't. Almost had built themselves up to like, look what I'm doing. Whereas I think I hope over the break there's been a realisation that Everton are in a very tricky situation. And you shouldn't be relying actually on other people, your own personal pride, your own professional pride. You should look at that situation and go, we shouldn't need players coming into this club to get us out of this. We should be able to get us out of this. And hopefully they do, because the flip side of that is, if someone does come in to get us out of this situation, they're going to take your place.
No, I think when you look at it, I've said this on other stuff we've done, is that we all know that for us the problems lie outside the club, really. The solutions lie outside the club in terms of regular goal scorers. We just simply haven't got. The one we've got isn't fit. So we've got a situation where we ain't played for 6 weeks and yet we're still going. Yeah. We don't even know if he's going to be on the bench. It's just for a year now, it's been, longer than a year now, hasn't it? It's been a ridiculous situation that our main striker isn't fit. It's nonsense. We ended up having to patch him up right the way through the second half of last season to get him. And he only really looked himself in the last couple of games before the season finished. And we've done it again. Yeah. So obviously that's what Everton needs to be looking at. But other people have got to step up. I look at teams like Leeds United, who've scored double. Okay, they've led a lot of goals, but they've scored double the goals what Everton have scored. And they haven't got Bamford. It's not like Bamford's on like 12, 13 goals. They've got lads who've come through the academy and got goals. Midfield players have got goals. Defenders. Everton haven't done that this season. But talking about Anthony Gordon, and we'll all say that he's been underperforming of what we think his level could be. He's our top scorer, but he's got 3 goals. Yeah. But what's been good for him is he got a hat-trick in Australia. He scored against Aston Villa the other day in the friendly. Decent goal as well, to be fair. So if he can pick that side of his game up and get, we got 4 last season, and to be fair, 3 of them were deflections off him and stuff. But he's already got 3, so he is improving that way. Can he get more? Can he come up big in these next few games when we need him? Damari Gray got 6 or 7 last season, John 1, or 2 if you include the Carabao Cup. So we need him to step up. Alex Iwobi normally loves a goal against Wolves. He scored against Wolves more than any other opponent. I think he's got 3 in his last 4 for Everton against them. So, can he come up with something? And that's what we're going to need while we do look for the solutions that are outside the club. And we, but again, like you just said, it was a good opportunity. See, I think what happened in the last week, rightly or wrongly, a couple of our players, I'm talking about Onana, had an eye on the World Cup and didn't perform to what he had been doing. Because when it was getting so close and you were seeing players drop off, even Garner, his form dropped a little bit. And
when I spoke to Begovic this week, check the interview out, he did say, and because I purposely asked him the question about this, is like, you can concentrate on the season now. And he said, well, it was a distraction. He said, people could see this thing ahead of them. And it was whether you were going to or you weren't going to. It was this thing where, I think it's like any walk of life, isn't it? If there's something, almost like if you've got some, your work does tend to drop off. If you've got an eye on something coming up, whether it's a holiday or whatever.
I was going to say, it's like, you're equated to like work or school, but the last few days of term, you're a bit like, or if work, it's like I'm finishing for Christmas on,
and if you're mentally,
whatever, your mind.
Mentally, you're looking at it in a way of like, certainly the players who went for us, like Onana's first World Cup. Ghana might be his last World Cup. Pickford in between. It's that thing of like, regardless, they did not want to miss that. And there was that idea of maybe they did drop off, maybe they didn't go in for that tackle.
Look at the last, if you want to look at the last week, which was a terrible week for Everton, the Leicester game started, we were shocking. We were really poor against Leicester. I thought it was one of the worst performances on the Lampard, to be fair, against the poor side.
He only had 10 players, by the way. Don't count the goalie.
No, the goalie was terrible. But they comfortably beat us.
Yeah.
They have got better forward plays, not granted, but they still comfortably beat us. And the 2 games against Bournemouth, if you look at the numbers Bournemouth have posted in the league, it's dreadful, the goals they let in and all of this. But up until then, Everton have been quite competitive, and you were looking and going, you know what? If we get him and him, I think we'll be all right this season. And then that last week, I think, made everyone just go, oh my God, this feels like last season all of a sudden. And I wonder if there is a bit of, I'm going to will. Because Onana had looked quite strong and everything. The last week, he just wasn't himself. Is he thinking, a tackle now puts me? We'd seen it with other players. But was the players who weren't going, who were thinking, I've got this break coming up next week. You know, it almost doesn't matter in a way of, subconsciously, I mean, I don't think anyone crosses the white line and goes, I can't be arsed today. I just wonder if that did drop into some of our, because it probably dropped into other players and other teams. I'm just talking about us. I wonder if it dropped into us, where now, like you just said, and what you said to Begovic the other day, is like, it's not in a way now. It's Premier League, FA Cup, and that's what it is for us now, and that World Cup's gone now. So for the likes of Onana, back now, I'm the boy. Just been a World Cup, played in the World Cup,
play regularly.
Ghana, players like that.
They'll be playing regularly now. I think the disappointment for a lot of people before the break was the fact that we didn't know what we were going to get this season, and we started off after the early defeats. We started on a decent little run where we picked up draws, and then we got put more players into the squad, and we found ourselves a little level where we weren't scoring goals, but we weren't conceding goals, and we looked tight, and we looked like we had a game plan, and then that game plan started to unravel. You know, and the problem is when it started to unravel, where we then looking at the real Everton for this season, and that's always been the hard part of putting your finger on what's the real Everton. But the simple fact is, the real Everton can't score goals. Can the real Everton go back to maybe nicking a few more goals and also getting tight at the back again and making it difficult for the teams? Because I think what led to the fan, disappointment or anger, what we saw at Bournemouth, is going back to that default that we thought we just got away from. Even if it was just we'd moved slightly above it, and we got that resilience of we're not letting soft goals in. And then, as you just said, the Leicester game, the two games, that'd be 7 goals against Bournemouth in 4.
Who can't score?
Who couldn't, a team that hadn't won for 5 games, bounced us twice, scoring 4 and 3. And suddenly you're like, we are poor. And actually there are no excuses. Okay, on the first game you can make excuses, but it was a reserve team versus reserve team. And then the other game, you've got all your players are playing. And you start to make mistakes. And that's where the worry seriously comes from, is that team that wasn't conceding, that looked resilient, that had that mentality, is that real Everton, or was that just short term? Well, they've got to come out in the next few weeks and show us, because the next, 3 of the next 4 games, you're looking at them thinking Everton but need to get 7 points out of those 3 games at home and get as far away from that bottom part of the table as they can. Because if they don't, then what's going to happen. We're going to be lingering around, and the pressure's on, to get the right players in, and we don't want that. We don't want what we went through last season. Because not only was it horrendous, number one, right, just taking a step back and talking about the fact of like how it makes you feel and the worry. Who wants to go to a match and watch crap football?
Yeah.
Who wants to go to a match and have to deal with that every week and sit down and go, do you know what? I can't be bothered. And then knowing you're like trying to build those atmospheres and kind of get the team going, but you're walking in going, I know today that it's going to be crap. Who needs that? Yeah. And that's what Everton have got to try and get away from as fast as they can. So that's the difficult part.
No, you're right. And obviously another thing while it's been off, Everton have appointed Sean Miller, who's head of physical performance, this while the break's been on. So again, someone else that tried to get more from Wolves, but who's been at Wolves, but someone who's tried to get trying to get more out of the squad, trying to understand the physical performance. Don't forget that all these positions were half of these went when Benitez walked. I mean, Benitez culled half of them, and then the other half he had went anyway. And Kevin Thelwell spent the best part of a year or almost a year trying to piece it all back together. And Everton have made big strides in that. So hopefully that opportunity to step away from the fire that was going on around Goodison for that last week, for Frank Lampard, for Joe Edwards, and the likes, Paul Clements, Ashley Cole, being able to step back and go, right, what actually is going wrong? We need to do this, we need to do that. Have a look at the physical performance, get everyone up to speed, do this slightly different. I'm like you, I hope we just put Onana back alongside Garner, and as almost them two's a double six, and as a Iwobi floating in front, like we've seen against Crystal Palace. Even though Dom won't be there, that framework works better for me. And Maupay, who also got a goal against Villa the other day and got one in Australia, hopefully his confidence is up a little bit, because strikers get goals, it makes you feel better, obviously. Get him in and around the box, do the more of getting wide and getting crosses in, you know, do the thing I asked Frank Lampard, could we do when we interviewed him, have some more shots and crosses, do all of that and put Wolves under pressure. Everton and Wolves are just looking before the Everton, since Lampard took over, failed to score in 13 games, and Wolves have failed to score in 14 games in that period. So neither team is very good at putting the ball in the back of the net. But for us, we've got to hope we can be nice and compact, and then take the opportunities when they come our way. And then if you do that, what it does is because Everton will, I know we'll all have a pop at them, and rightly so, at what's happened, but Everton will be trying to work on forward, you know, players to come in and try and help. And what you can do, what the team can do for the fans and for everything, is get them wins and ease that, like, real panic. If Everton could win against Wolves, we go to City going, this is a little bit of a free hit. We've had a great win the other day. We've got 2 more home games in the league coming up, because 3 of our next 4 are Goodison. But, you know, Wolves, Brighton and Southampton, a great opportunity for Everton to get 9 points would be incredible, but certainly 7, a great opportunity, because that's where we'll get out of trouble.
Well, that's what we need to get out of trouble,
and that's what we have to do. And January, if Everton could do it, could look totally different for us. It is a big if, and I understand that, and there'll be people who are going, we can't. I know, I get it, but we have to almost feel like it's a refresh and go, Dom might be on the bench on Boxing Day. I imagine Tom Cannon will, and he should be. The kid deserves it at the moment.
Yeah.
Really does. I'm quite sure Isaac Price will be on there as well, looking by, with a couple of midfielders who aren't available. So, you know, hopefully the reset will be just that, and we can start by hitting the ground running against Wolves.
No, absolutely. And yeah, you need that. You need to go into Boxing Day, go into that game, and come out of it thinking, I can't wait for the next one.
Yeah.
No, I haven't missed this.
Albeit it's Man City.
No, I know, but that is what it is, isn't it? You go the next home game I'm looking forward to. The Brighton game, and hopefully, we've seen signs. One thing I really hope for is they've been working on set pieces, attacking set pieces, because that's a huge part of the game that we could use and use for our benefit.
I noticed with the Athletic have done a thing, haven't you? Noticed that Alex Naylor had come in as a set piece analyst and specialist, and we have been much better defensively. It's so we hope that this 6 weeks, because the games haven't been different, they've been able to look at doing something a bit different than just tossing the ball.
Just on that, I mean, for this game, obviously there is no Conor Cody, so who do we going for?
See, if everyone was fully at 100%, it'd be Yerry Mina for me. Because he's a threat in both boxes, and we're not. And I think Tarkowski, I get the mobility side, but I think Wolves don't have, like, apart from Adama Traore, they haven't got anyone really who's leaving you for dead in the back. You know, Jimenez, if he plays, is more of a target. He's not leaving you for dead. So I would probably go with Yerry. But if, you know, Ben Godfrey's played a few games for the 21s, training every day, looks nice and sharp, the manager might want that insurance with Ben Godfrey at the back with the pace, and have him next to Tahi and do it that way. But I think it's a tough one, because I think Mina's more likely to affect the game.
I just wonder whether they play Godfrey at left back if Traore plays.
Or
just because of that pace.
With a bit of the pace.
I don't, maybe, not sure. I'm not. Well, we don't know. Mikalenko is a good defender,
but he'd have to sit deeper, wouldn't he? Because obviously Traore is the threat on the counter attack. And again, the manager's Spanish. Traore's played for Spain, so he might use him where he wasn't getting used by Lars, was he? So it's one of them. I mean, the one player we need to look out for, who always seems to play well against Everton, and we're going to have to be all over him, is, of course, Ruben Neves. Let's just have a look. Him, he's played 14 games this season, 4 goals, so immediately he'd be our top scorer. No assists, and he averages 1.9 shots per game. That's the thing, his passing range is tremendous, and he's dangerous outside the box.
He was brilliant against us last season.
Oh, last season he just dominated the game.
He just sat in front of the back four and everything just went through. It was a brilliant example of how you play that role. But one thing we've got to watch out for him, because again, this is one of our things we love to do, is let people shoot.
Yeah.
And if you let him shoot,
he's averaging almost 2
and
shots.
Wolves have got a couple more. If you let them shoot, they've got the ability. He has got the ability to put it in the back of the net from distance.
Yeah.
And we, Frank Lampard said this. I've got no problem letting people shoot. Well, we saw it against Leicester. What happens? Talent. There's a lot of talent out there from distance, and he's another one. If you let him shoot, I know we've been relying on the blocks and Jordan Pickford, but that's something we've got to get hold of. We've got to stop teams having so many shots against us, because there's players with ability, and it's simple as that. So we've got to stop that. But he's a great player, and if we let him dictate the game, would you
almost have a Wobie following him round? Because he tends to drop, doesn't he? And he becomes almost, it depends what the new manager does with the system, but what was happening when Lars went to the 4, he was dropping in and making it almost a third centre-back and then trying to play. I just wonder if they'll do that or whether...
It's hard to know, isn't it? Because with them having a new manager, it's hard to know what he's going to go with, but I think for us, you've got to put pressure on him. It might even be Garner coming out and coming on him.
Get on him, yeah.
And letting Onana sit.
Or out of possession, Maupai. Go and sit on him. Let the centre-backs have it, but you sit on Neves.
He'd be dead anyway, so...
Well, exactly, he drops that deep anyway, doesn't he? But no, listen, like I said before, these are bottom of the league, and I'm sure they'll have an upturn with the new manager, but let's make sure it isn't against us. Get this 3 points and make everybody feel that much more comfortable and start the upwards trajectory, because...
They've got to inject some positivity into the club as fast as they can. They've got to get people...
back on board
as fast as possible, and don't let that thing of going like, well, what have you been doing for 6 weeks?
Yeah.
You've had a big break there. I know, listen, some of it was in Australia, some of it was people recharging the batteries. Anthony Gordon apparently was out in Dubai working with a private, personal trainer. Whatever it was, Evertonians better see an upturn, because if we don't, then
we've got 3 out of 4 at home, and I know we've got United away in the cup, and I'm talking about the Premier League. I think we can really give ourselves a good springboard with the next 3 home games. Be tough, everyone will be hard. We're not good enough to go, we'll beat them and we'll beat them, but each one represents a good opportunity. Put it this way, I'd rather have 3 out the next 4 at home than away.
Of course.
And that's our opportunity to really put some points on the board.
Absolutely. There you go. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Premier League football is back. Everton are back.
I hope so. Been a while.
Let us know your thoughts on the game. Don't forget, give this video a like. Subscribe if you haven't already. If you want more great videos, join us over on Toffee TV Premier, where you can see part 2 of the Wayne Rooney interview. It is there now. The link will be in the description, and the QR code will be on the screen very shortly. See you later.
Happy Christmas.